Okay, so I realized as I was looking through my videos, there's a lot of information I'm providing, but not really doing a whole lot of work on trees. So I just want to put one of my videos together because there's something I've been wanting to do for quite a long time. I was given this tree by a woman whose brother was ill, and she just wanted to have somebody that would take care of the tree, since he was no longer able to do it. And I've had it in my collection for probably 2 or 3 years now. Never appreciated too much about the tree. And the design of the tree was rather poor, and it was kind of just like a laying down tree, and I didn't know what to do with it, and I thought about it, and there's several times I considered chopping it off here and growing a brand new trunk, but it was just the base of the tree that bothered me the most. But the other day I was looking at a few other things in my collection, and I considered possibly turning this on its side and making a root over rock out of it. And then I was able to find in my garden a large rock, which I have right here, which all I did was I took a chisel and just kind of leveled the bottom off to give it a flat surface to base it on. But I think putting this, attaching the tree to it, and using the same pot, I think we're going to have some good contrasting colors. I think it's going to be a good composition, and I think the rock is the appropriate size for it. I don't know how much I'll do the styling of the tree. I just want to get the tree itself out of the pot and attach the rock, and then back into the pot, and we can kind of go from there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get this tree out of the pot, and just to kind of keep it a little bit neater, just going to use one of these little tins that you can usually find these at Home Depot or even auto parts store. Just a simple tin tray, and it certainly looks like we're going to have plenty of roots to work with. Okay. So this is the look I'm looking for right here. Notice how it makes much more sense now, because the trunk that used to be flat, horizontal, is now going to be a vertical and very upright. This is going to give me a nice little pad up here, or at the top of the tree here, maybe a low hanging down branch, maybe just bring this down a little bit, but we'll see what it looks like once I get it up against the rock. Very good. I think this rock is going to work perfect. I really like the way that I've got a nice clean shot right here that stays within the width of the pot. Plus I've got this nice little angle, and lots of areas to attach the roots into. So I do believe this large one needs to go. Now that's fitting in there very nice. The rock that I'm dealing with is a type of coral or feather rock. I'm not certain. The texture of it feels like a feather rock. However, the details of it kind of make me think it's some sort of coral. So, not exactly certain, but it's a very soft rock, easy to chip away, very easy for roots to get through and to cling to this thing. So it should be an easy transition for this tree. This tree seems very active anyway, as far as the ability to acclimate itself to various types of situations. So now, although this tree seems to kind of go up this way and then go back, not a big deal, because I'm going to have to restyle the top once I have this set in the pot. And actually from this side as well, it could be a good front. So I'm not sold on which side of this is going to be the front of this tree yet, but I think just getting it in place, getting it watered, and then getting it established, I think is the biggest key. Now that I've got it in a good position, I feel very comfortable with this. This looks really good. A lot of aerial roots still coming down, which is going to be perfect, because what this is going to do in time is all these thin roots are going to hit the soil mix at some point, which is going to give it a good source of water, which is then going to thicken these roots up as they start to pull water up to the tree, and also getting food down to the roots. It's going to be able to do both those things. So just a matter of time before this thing gets into a really healthy mode. A length of wire, come right around the trunk, and I'm going to go right in this little nook. And pliers are much stronger than I am, so I'm going to grab my pliers and give this a little pull. And that's bringing it in real nice. And all I'm trying to do is work some of the roots down to the soil, just to make sure that this tree does get water and gets nutrients up to the tree to help it establish itself. And that really held very well. The rock is in there perfectly. I'm going to sink it down a little bit further. And I think I'm using looks to be a 2.5 or a 3 wire, 3mm wire. And this shouldn't take too long for this tree to start clinging on by itself. This type of tree, and especially this time of the year, they're very active, and it's going to start digging its roots in to cling onto this rock. And like I said, probably won't be more than a month or two before I can actually take the wire off and have this tree just hold on by its own accord. Well, I think that's a good look. Again, this, even though it's going the wrong way, I'm going to eventually bring the canopy or the apex of the tree somewhere in this area right here. Probably have a little pad, maybe around the front, maybe around the back, and slowly, get this thing to thicken up down here. And we're going to have some roots that'll come straight off the bottom of this. So this blank spot down here should get filled in as well. You can see how I was able to actually get the tree to go right along the movement of the rock, and actually we'll start wrapping around it. This is going to, in time, start to thicken up. I might probably remove this chunk right here just to give it a much smoother transition into the ground, or maybe not. We'll see. This would be nice to have roots up here as well. Again, there's a lot of movement up here and a lot of different options to grow top on this. This side is, of course, the chunk that I was talking about. This is where it was actually into the ground before, so it's going to take a little bit of time for this to fill in. I do have a rock or something like that maybe I could put in there in the meantime, just to kind of take away from that large area. Also a little bit of interest, but I don't know if I'm going to need that or not, but we'll just see. And actually, I kind of like just adding that little rock. It just filled in that gap perfectly. So, and again, this is the side of the rock, and here's the back. And actually, this could also work as a front for me as well. So I'm still not sold on which is the front. Could go either way. This gives you a much better view of the tree, and there you can see a lot of movement and a lot of different options. And again, look at all these aerial roots. This is the kind of stuff that's going to grab onto that rock and just thicken up and just really make this rock look like it was, part of this tree for all of its life, and a very, very old tree. I do have one little feeder coming off this large root. I'll probably clean this up a little bit, just get it to taper down into that root, and then we'll get this thing, maybe I'll put it under the wire to tie it down just to get it close to the rock. And then I do have one large root that I was able to get into the soil. So lots of options. I think this is going to be an outstanding tree in time, but I'm glad I was able to share it with you, and let's see what happens.